Hey everyone, and welcome back to Watch Trading Academy. One of the big questions I get here at WTA is really, what should I do with Rolex? I got a brand new Rolex. Should I trade it? Should I sell it? And what is Rolex doing with flippers? Am I in trouble? Are they going to fine me? Are they going to ban me? How will this work out? So historically, if you've been hearing the rumors all over the internet, there are people at Rolex that basically look for their watches being sold on the secondary market after they've been acquired by ADs to basically ban those customers from buying future watches. So if you've heard something like this, this is a very common practice in the watch world, where you're basically not allowed to flip watches you get because they want these watches to go to end users so they don't manipulate markets and so on and so forth with resellers. So one of the issues though with this whole model is that not every authorized dealer plays by the same rule. So I'm going to share with you today the breakdown of what you can expect from your authorized dealer and what are they supposed to be holding themselves accountable to by the actual corporate manufacturer. So first off, if you've never traded watches, don't know how to, or really have been interested in turning watches into profits, click the link in the bio below. You'll have not only a free training where I'll break down for you step by step how you can get started in the luxury watch world with as little as $1,500, access to a post office and a computer. And two, if you're ready to take your watch trading journey to the next level, click the other link that shows you that Watch Trading Academy is on Black Friday sale, which is a unique opportunity to join Watch Trading Academy, the only platform where you're going to learn how to do all that and more for just $197 instead of $1,000. Our Black Friday sale has already started. You can simply click the link and join us now. Now, let's get back to this Rolex conversation for a second. Plain and simple, Rolex Corporate, the manufacturer, does not want you to flip their watches. Partially because they don't want you to compete with other dealers selling watches. Secondly, because they really don't like the idea of individuals profiting off their brands rather than end users having a quality product. In other words, you have to think this way. You're selling product, you want people to enjoy the product, review the product, showcase the product, be excited about the product, but instead you get people to put watches in their vaults and resell the product and never get to enjoy them. But a big part of that really comes down to the question, like, why does it matter? If someone is purchasing the product and you're getting paid and your profits are soaring and more people buying your product to resell it, means that it's even harder to get your product, so more people will have to pay more to get your product. So ultimately, it's almost a catch-22, because on one side you hear manufacturers really crack down and talk about how they want their end users to have these watches, and on the other hand you hear stories of Patek buying their own watches on secondary markets at record numbers, pushing used pricing to the roof and helping resellers. So there's so much confusion in the industry about what is real, what is not, and what is really expected. So let's now take this down to an authorized dealer level known as a Rolex AD, an individual who is representative of the brand and can sell brand new Rolex to you. This is not a third-party store, not a used store, but rather someone who gets brand new Rolexes from the manufacturers based on their allocations and then can sell them to their best clients. And then they have these things called the awesome waiting lists, which are imaginary waiting lists they put your name on, only to do some background research, find out who you are, and then decide if they want to sell you a watch or not based on your history and who you are. So Rolex ADs have done a really good job in booming economies where Rolex is short in supply because there's such an excess in demand, in helping individuals feel very special when they do get a Rolex by limiting not only what watches are available in stores, changing everything to exhibition models so that people cannot just pick up watch and get out of the store, and giving people some type of feel that they're really important because they've been given something of value, greater value than what they're paying for it. So they've played this game significantly well in an uptick, and they're continuing to do that, telling people that they're on list and they're going to get this, and if they buy this, they'll get that, etc., boosting their profits. One of the key differences, though, is that the AD himself does not necessarily care if you actually flip the watch or not, but they care if Rolex finds out, because then it makes them look bad that they selected you versus someone else to get the specific watch. So what Rolex basically ADs do is they want deniability more than anything else. It's not that they want to make sure you don't flip the watch, because they could care less. What they care about is deniability. So some of the things people have done in order to flip watches has been to flip watches not putting serial numbers on the internet, not putting the back of the watch, not putting any identifiers that shows people where did this watch come from, such as the date on the card or anything else, because they could technically track this. So people have done a good job at trying to avoid these AD conversations so that they're not obviously blacklisted by ADs who are told by Rolex that you cannot purchase watch. If you are discovered to be flipping a watch and someone does find out that indeed you do have a track record of taking these watches and getting rid of them, you will be faced with maximum jail time. I'm just joking. They're not going to do anything. They're just basically going to come to you and say that we're not going to sell you another watch, at which point you can simply send your mom or your cousin or your kid or whatever to the store to basically buy a watch for you, or to set up an account at a different AD and get started from there. So it's not really a big deal if you flip a watch. It really doesn't really matter, especially some of the crappier Rolexes. What happens though is that they just want deniability. So if you're going to flip a watch you just got an AD, one really good recommendation is conceal and just don't show any identifiers that could identify that this is the exact watch they sold you, who they sold it from, and where. As a result, you won't obviously get shadow listed or banned from purchasing future Rolexes at that AD. Now, furthermore, if you are in the resale business and are buying and reselling watches and have just purchased a watch from someone who has just gotten it from the store, it is just good courtesy and common courtesy to not list that watch all over the internet, especially knowing if your client is a continuous seller to you and it constantly feeds you the supply that you're going to make money on. Perhaps using the same level of intelligence towards not putting other people's business out there is also helpful, so that of course not only you can make money, but you can guarantee future Rolex allocations as well. Now the same can be said for Patek, AP, and everyone else. These manufacturers in good times obviously want their supply to go in the right hands. Now, so how does this change as the industry is now coming to a very different stage, a downturn where secondary markets have crashed significantly for most manufacturers, especially Rolex. And a lot of these watches, as they come down in price more and more, are no longer becoming really exciting because they're pushing down other models that weren't ever desirable and are now trading below MSRP. So in the past, when you purchased a watch, you would always kind of break even and then get into a better watch as a result of buying that first watch. But in today's market, in many cases, when you buy a watch that isn't as desirable, you're going to incur a loss, especially the longer you hold it. So people are going to be much more inclined to sell watches they don't want to keep, rather than just actually keep them for the sake of knowing that they're going to get a better watch, especially when they know that the time is against them and the market is going down. So what should you do, or how should you avoid this? Well, there's really no way to avoid it, except that you're going to realize, because I've been around since 2008 as well, during that downturn, that dealers, ADs, are going to have less and less customers taking and picking up the watches that they're expecting to get. So as they do end up getting calls from these imaginary wait lists, as they do end up getting called to pick up stuff, people are going to be more and more hesitant to buy stuff, especially the stuff that doesn't have any future value. So you're going to realize that less and less people are taking this, and so more opportunities open up to have good relationships with ADs. And two, one of the greater opportunities that ADs are going to start caring less and less, especially when mainstream inventory is being traded. And so while at first you're going to have this balance mismatch where at the beginning they're still going to pretend they care, eventually with the heavily slowed demand, they're going to find themselves with an oversupply of trash that they're going to need to move, and at which point they're going to close their eyes to a lot more than they thought previously. Otherwise, they're going to lose all their clients. Listen, the markets haven't really crashed per se. What has happened and has come down is that the liquidity index has gone to near zero, and more importantly, the dollar is at its strongest. So that means that watch pricing is expected to come down. Those are two factors that create that. Now, these watch pricing could be temporary, it could be short-term, it could be long-term, or it could be the new norm. Only time will tell where we are, especially in the middle of 23. But for now, if you want more videos like this or like the content, click like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and make sure you put in the comment, what was the best or worst horror story you've ever had at a Rolex or Patek AD? Put it in comments, and I'll catch you next time for another Watch Trading Academy video. And don't forget, our Black Friday sale is up, so click the link in the description as well.